Hey, it's Tom and Mike from Take Time to Travel.
While we were living in Lisbon, Portugal, we took a day trip to explore the picturesque town of Sintra, from the Centro Historico and the colorful Pena Palace to the impressive medieval Moorish Castle and the UNESCO World Heritage Site Quinta de Regalera. There were so many spectacular sights to see, so we put together a Sintra travel guide to show you the most popular attractions, as well as some of the tasty restaurants and delicious bakeries, to give you ideas on what to do during your trip to Sintra.
We started our day trip at Lisbon's Rossio railway station, where we took a 40-minute train ride over to Sintra station, and just a short walk from the station, we decided to have an early lunch at Café Saudade. It's a charming little eatery that's popular for its salads, sandwiches, and brunch, which sounded great to us.
We started our meal with a Super Bock beer for me and a large Americano coffee for Tom. Then to eat, I got the extra large Iberian sandwich with prosciutto, mozzarella, lettuce, tomato, pickled red onion, and olive oil. And Tom got the extra large omega-3 salad with smoked salmon, mozzarella, lettuce, tomato, pickled red onion, and fresh fruit. I really enjoyed my sandwich, and Tom loved his smoked salmon salad as well. And the interior was quite lovely too. But let's keep moving. We're going to burn off some calories by walking up the mountain to the National Palace of Pena and Park.
After passing through the entry gates, we still had to walk quite a distance uphill until we got our first glimpse of the Pena Palace, which had a really long line of people that wrapped all the way around the bend. Thankfully, that big line was for a different time slot than we had. Ours was the little line on the left. We booked for 10 a.m.
While we waited for our turn, we took a selfie and enjoyed the spectacular scenery of this colorful UNESCO World Heritage Site. Then, when it was 10 o'clock, our line started to move, and we made our way over towards the second set of gates, which were also very impressive, and is where we presented our online tickets.
After that, we passed through the arched doorway and headed up the ramp, where we got to enjoy some incredible views of the palace from the walkway on top of the surrounding walls. Then we continued to explore the exterior pathways and outdoor areas. While we were wandering around, we were drawn towards this interesting looking archway, on the other side of which was a fantastic view looking down from atop the mountain.
Around on the other side of the palace, we passed under another archway and explored more of the exterior. And as we strolled along, we found some nice scenery amongst the treetops. A little bit further around the bend, it started to get really windy, so we didn't stay for too long to enjoy the marvelous panoramic vista of the countryside below, before we made our way around to the front to go and check out the inside of the palace.
From the interior courtyard, we were able to access the large dining room with wonderful tiles that cover the walls as well as the ceiling. Then we walked through ornate room after room. Some of our favorites were this bedroom of King Ferdinand II, as well as this opulent sitting room, and the smoking room, which was also sometimes used as a music room, and had this intricate ceiling.
But our favorite room was the Great Hall, also known as the billiards room. It's the largest in the palace and was used for entertaining. Loved the 72 candles chandelier. The stag room, where banquets were held, was pretty impressive too. Overall, we really had a great time exploring the Pena Palace. We've never seen another place quite like it. Now let's keep going. There's lots more to see and do in Sintra.
For our next attraction, we'll need to walk about 20 minutes over towards the entrance of the Moorish Castle, which is just through this archway and along another lovely green trail. After about a 10-minute walk, we arrived at this imposing wall, on the other side of which we could really see the extent of the 10th century medieval fortifications And from up on the parapet walk, you can enjoy an amazing view overlooking the town below. Very cool. Now let's continue moving and head up this side of the fortification towards the Royal Tower.
As we climbed higher and higher, the perspectives from atop the walls became even more spectacular. But we still have a long way to go until we get to King Ferdinand II's preferred place to spend leisure time. It seemed like the steps up the wall were never ending, so that made the breathtaking vistas near the top even more rewarding. Every direction that we looked was remarkable.
Now let's go and check out the Royal Tower, which is where the king artist King Ferdinand II would come to find inspiration for his creations. After climbing up the steps of the fortification, we walked through the stone entryway and then down and out through the far side, which also had incredible 360-degree views. It's no wonder why the king would come here for inspiration. You can even see the rooftops of the town far below.
The Royal Tower sure was impressive, but now let's head over to the opposite end of the Moorish Castle, which thankfully is mostly downhill from up here, and also had some stunning outlooks all the way along. The parapet walk along the fortifications really makes you feel as though you've stepped back many centuries in time.
As we continued to walk, we passed by the Armed Square on our way up towards the castle keep and got to enjoy a different perspective of the Moorish Castle fortifications, as well as the town down below. It didn't take as long to walk up to the castle keep as it did to the Royal Tower, and once we got there, we thought it was pretty cool to wander around and explore the ancient fortifications, which was built at one of the highest points and also had an expansive view across the surrounding landscape. We loved exploring the Castelo dos Mouros, or the Moorish Castle, and definitely thought it was worth the admission price. It was so cool to walk through the millennium-old medieval castle. We even saw a cat while we were there. But we're starting to get hungry, so let's head down the mountain and explore the Centro Historico, then get something to eat.
As we wandered around Sintra's quaint historic center, we enjoyed the bustling atmosphere and noticed lots of different shops, as well as charming narrow laneways where we found nice little patios and restaurants. It was really lovely to walk around the Centro Historico and get lost in the many different winding streets. We never knew what we were going to find just around the corner. Everywhere that we strolled along had so much character. There were also quite a few hills too, which made for some very scenic lookout points and great places for patios. The historic center had so many attractive eateries that it was really hard for us to decide where to get lunch.
We ended up finding a place over by the Sintra Town Hall building called Raíz Sintra. It's a highly rated restaurant and cocktail bar featuring homemade food. Let's head down the many stairs and grab a table on their nice covered terrace for a lovely meal.
We started with a glass of Somersby apple cider for each of us. Then to eat, I chose the salmon tartare with salad mix, mango, quinoa, avocado, wakame, and spring onion. And Tom got the fresh tuna salad with salad mix, purple cabbage, avocado, beetroot, cherry tomato, caramelized onion, and parmesan. We thoroughly enjoyed both of our meals and found them to be very fresh and tasty. But let's keep going and try a few of Sintra's many delicious bakeries for some dessert.
The first bakery we're going to is located just next to Raíz and is called Fábrica das Verdadeiras Queijadas de Sapa, which means Sapa True Queijadas Factory, according to Google Translate. Let's go give it a try. They have a long history of making queijadas dating back to Maria Sapa in 1756.
We ordered an orange tart on the left side of the big plate, as well as a queijada at the front and a milky pudding creme brulee-like tart at the back. On the right by itself is a sponge cake with a custard cream filling. We tried Sintra's specialty tart, the queijada, first, which was sweet, creamy, and light tasting. We quite enjoyed all of the other tarts too.
Now let's go try another popular pastry shop in the historic center. It's called Casa Piriquita, and it also makes the traditional Portuguese sweets, queijadas. Let's head on inside and give it a try. Right at the front, there was a large crowd around the pastry display case, so we headed to a table at the back of the eatery and placed our order for a Segres beer, as well as 2 of their Travesseiros pillow pastries, and 2 queijadas, both of which are specialties of Casa Piriquita. The queijadas were also quite tasty here. We can't decide which place we like better. As for the Travesseiro pastries, they were very light and airy, and we're glad we got to try this popular Sintra sweet.
After that, it's time to go check out another attraction in Sintra, which is about a 10-minute walk away from Casa Piriquita, just down Avenida Almeida Garrett, and over to the Quinta de Regalera estate. That includes the Regaleira Palace, beautiful gardens, and the famous initiation well.
We decided to line up at the ticket office for Quinta de Regalera admission tickets, which only took about 20 minutes. And after that, we were ready to go and explore the expansive estate that was designed and built in the late 1800s. We went straight towards the initiation well, one of the most popular attractions here, which had a way longer line than the ticketing office. It took us about an hour to get to the entrance, but it was pretty cool to see the initiation well in person, which was supposedly used for ceremonial purposes and contains a 27-meter spiral staircase with 9 flights of stairs. According to Wikipedia, the 9 flights of stairs could possibly be linked to the Knights Templar, which had 9 founders. The Quinta de Regalera initiation well sure does seem mysterious.
Once we reached the bottom of the initiation well, we wandered through the grottos, which came out to a waterfall that was all surrounded by greenery and was very pretty. Then we walked back through the grottos and tunnels to explore the rest of the picturesque estate. As we strolled along, we saw beautiful gardens and some interesting looking buildings on our way over to another popular attraction here called the Regaleira Palace.
Not too much further, we found this attractive patio overlooking the palace. What a great view for a meal. Too bad we've already eaten. So let's just head straight over to the palace and check it out. After a quick video selfie, of course. The Regaleira Palace's facade sure was impressive, as was the intricately carved front entryway, which must have taken forever to complete.
Inside, we were only able to access the main level of the 5-floor Regaleira Palace, but each room was stunning and was beautifully maintained. From the palace, we even got to enjoy a fantastic view of the estate. It sure would have been nice to live there. They even had their own chapel, called the Regaleira Chapel, which has a very ornate exterior, as well as a nicely decorated interior with frescoes and stained glass windows.
After we checked out the chapel, we wandered around some more of the 4 hectares of park that had flowers and lush tropical greenery everywhere we looked. It's a great place for photos. We really enjoyed our visit to the very picturesque Quinta de Regalera estate. But let's keep going and get some more to eat at a bakery called Padaria Saloia.
Tom grabbed us a table and I went to the counter to see what to get. After browsing their freshly baked breads and an assortment of their other sweet and savory baked goods on display, we placed our order and waited for them to heat our food. I chose to get the bacalhau stuffed bread. and Tom had the sausage and flour stuffed bread. They both tasted decent, and we felt they were a good way to get something cheap and filling.
Next, we'll walk about 10 minutes over to another pastry shop called Dona Estefânia. They make Sintra Queijadas as well as Travesseiros and even have ice cream. We browsed over all of the appetizing sweets that they had on display and decided to get the Travesseiro pillow pastry as well as a slice of queijada cake and a couple of pastéis de Estefânia tarts to enjoy on the patio. Everything that we had at Dona Estefânia was delicious. This was probably our favorite bakery that we tried in Sintra.
If you enjoyed watching our Sintra day trip, then make sure to check out our Cascais day trip video. And remember, take time to travel. Catch you on the next one.